What's up, Liverpool fans? We are back following a victory for the first time in a while. We are Yanks of the Cop. We are Stephen Mahomey here for the post-match reactions to Liverpool's 2-0 victory overall, 4-0 over two legs against RB Leipzig, securing our spot in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Dare to dream out there. As always, Mahomey, how do you feel after a great victory?
I can't lie. There's a point where I was a bit nervous because the amount of chances we're missing. It should have been like a routine win for us. We should have been out of sight in like the first half an hour. But we got the win in the end and win the quarterfinals. As I said all along, dare to dream when it comes to Champions League. You can't write Liverpool off when it comes to Champions League. No matter how bad our league form is, the Champions League's in our DNA, it's in our blood. We built our history in winning the Champions League. So when it comes to European night, we know how to turn it on. We know how to navigate a two-legged tie.
Yes, we do. Some of the best in there, and I hope this win gives our team some confidence because not only did we win, but this was just an excellent performance. Take away the poor finishing, and I thought that from defense, midfield, front three, best team performance that we've seen in a very long time here. John MC, good to have you. Good to have you here. J Doc, always welcome back. Appreciate you guys. But like you said, my Prince Philip. So I kind of want to start with that. The lineup, everyone was thrilled to see the Klopp starting lineup today. Fabinho back in the midfield, Kabak starting with Phillips as center backs, and then Jota filling in for the injured Firmino. Well, homie, what were your thoughts ultimately when you saw Klopp's lineup today? It looks like he finally decided to take a risk, and it paid off.
Yeah, because I was debating, on Twitter before, like whether or not Klopp would play that, because my start lineup had Fabinho in it, but then I said actually I don't think Klopp would play him. So I was, I think it felt good to see Klopp taking a risk because I felt that's why Klopp wasn't taking a risk because I don't think I didn't feel he was over trusting our defense that much, and that's why he was putting Fabinho back in centre back. But I think going forward now, we've seen what's possible. We've seen the kind of like the formula code for us to have a finish off the season on a high. So, I was really happy to see Fabinho in that midfield, and I think he made a massive difference in terms of, how we control the midfield, his breaking up play, his interceptions. I mean, just look at some of the stats I wrote down for him. Like, he had 2 clearances, 4 interceptions, 3 tackles. If you look at overall, most of our midfield haven't been doing any tackles recently in most games. So he made a massive difference. So for me, I was happy with that, and I was also happy with the fact that we had Jota, Mane, and Salah up top because I knew obviously Leipzig were going to have to come and attack us, and we could hit them on the break with our pace, up top. So I was very happy with that lineup.
Yeah, me too, man. I mean, we consistently has talked about how Klopp it seemed like he was continually to play scared ultimately, always having Fabinho in the back, not wanting to and I think the absolute right time to do it, and that's that performance this are being
your signal's really bad. Your signal's really bad.
Keep cutting out there. But I mean, J-Doc agrees with you. J-Doc, Fabinho in the midfield changed everything. Thiago playing more forward and Fab's protecting the defense. That's 100% exactly what it was. I thought it was absolutely great. Chris Welch thought that Fabinho and Phillips were the 2 standouts and that Phillips was an absolute warrior and an animal back there. What did you think of the combined center back partnership with Kabak and Phillips today?
You can only play well against what's in front of you, right? And you can't fault them. Obviously, I don't think in terms of Leipzig strikers, I don't think Poulsen's going to really challenge Phillips or Kabak. So I felt that that they were really good tonight. I thought Phillips won every header that he was faced with, and I think he gets the job done. He might not be the prettiest, but he's a no-nonsense centre-back. He gets the job done. And I thought Kabak overall, I thought both of them played well overall. In terms of what they're faced with. I mean, like I said, it wasn't until the second half where they brought Hwang on and Solitzer, where they had a bit more pace up top. I think Poulsen's more of he's not really a fast striker. So I think it made it easier, the fact that, they were just chucking balls downfield, like Phillips is just going to eat those up all day. So I thought in terms of, what they played in front of them, they did really well. You can't really fault them. And obviously, in a different game, obviously they're going to face harder challenges when you play better quality strikers as you go in the competition. But overall, I thought they, for the night, for what it is that they played well tonight. And I can't fault them tonight. I think Steven's frozen. So yeah, I think Steve's frozen. So yeah, basically going on. Okay, I'll do some of the comments. Good to see you, Chris. Oh, there you are, Steve. All right.
Sorry about that. I was connected to the wrong Wi-Fi. I was on my neighbor's Wi-Fi for some reason. So, but I'm sorry. Where were we?
No, he was asking me about the Felix and K-back.
Oh yeah. So I mean, hey, I thought they both played tremendous today, and I don't know how Klopp can't have confidence in going with these two guys going forward. It was nice to see Davies on the bench as well. Good to see that he was out of the basement. That was a good sign to see him on the bench. But yeah, ultimately, I think after this performance, there's no way you can go with Fabinho back in the midfield. I think if we do see Fabinho back at center back, I think if we do see Fabinho at center back in the Premier League, it's simply to give him rest so we can have him fresh in the midfield for the Champions League performances. But there's no way Klopp can go back to him in the defense now, right?
Well, you can't. I don't see. Obviously, we've got Wolves next. I can't see why he'd put Fabinho back there. I don't think Wolves are any better than Leipzig, so I don't see the need for having him back there anymore. K-back and Phillips tonight. Tonight was a big test, big Champions League. Tie. There's obviously a lot of pressure. Obviously, it's not the same with the fans not there, but still, nonetheless, they've come through a big tie and they've done it in flying colours. So for me, yeah, we should see Fabinho back in with defence the rest of the season, to be honest. We should have seen him there. Now it should just be rotating the midfield players amongst each other to give each other rests. But Fabinho should now be centre midfield unless there's an injury.
Mm-hmm. Well, everyone in the chat, we appreciate you guys. If you haven't yet, hit that like and subscribe button. Helps more Liverpool fans see this channel and helps us get bigger guests. So we really appreciate you guys. But, Wahome, question for you from Sophie. What would you like to – she'd like to know how you feel about Upamecano after two shocking performances. Do you think we still need him in the summer?
I never said we need Upamecano. I said I think he's a good player. But actually, the more I see about Upamecano, I think he's a bit overrated in terms of I think he reminds me of what's his name? Micah Richards. That he relies on his pace a lot to get back. Otherwise, it wasn't for his pace. He's probably not that great in terms of that. No, I'm not lying, Sophie. I never said we definitely Kane, but he's a good player. But I think we could. I'm glad we haven't gone for him because I think we could do better than him. Because I think him and Konate, even in the first leg, both have errors in them. So I'm not that fast. We don't go for either of them. But he didn't cover himself in glory over these two legs. Even against Man United, he didn't cover himself in glory when they lost to United. So overall, I'm not that bothered about Upamecano.
A couple things in the chat here. John MC, who would have guessed that playing two center backs would solve the issues? Yeah, exactly right. This delay, absolutely ridiculous to get Fabinho back in the midfield. A couple other things here. Aliyaka, welcome back. Appreciate to have you and completely agree. Dare to dream of the Champions League. This tournament was built for Liverpool, and you got to have faith in this team over two legs that we can beat any team out there. I mean, look at Porter is now still available, and they've been beating a lot of big teams. But we get a draw like that. There's no reason why we can't go to the semifinal. Garav here, Jota's catching the bug too. Something that we talked about with Homie. I thought again the movement from the front three was a lot better. I thought Mane, Salah, Jota, they all look pretty good. But what the hell is going on with us not being able to convert our chances, man? We should have won this game 4-5-6-0.
I don't know. I thought up until Mane scored, I don't think he was playing that well. I didn't see a difference in Mane, than we had done in any other game. You know, for me, I thought he wasn't offering anything really. So until we got that goal, I was thinking actually Mane. I was thinking about taking Mane off because I'm thinking like I don't think he was playing that well. Even Jota, I don't think Jota played that well overall. The link up, the movement, and link up play is good, but in terms of the decision making in the final moment, wasn't that great. Because a few times where Jota did a poor pass or Mane did a poor pass, and I thought even with Salah, you know, except for his goal, I didn't really think he played that well the forward line. So but overall, you know, obviously, I'm hoping this now goal gives both Mo and Mane like some confidence because you know even when Salah went through 1-1 in the first half, he looked short of confidence. You know, at no point I think you know I thought you know like when he took it on. Normally that's Salah on confidence. He opens up his body and buries that in the far corner.
Yep.
But this one he just shot straight at the keeper, and I was like, and then Mane when he went for the header, I was like, why is Mane headering it? Normally Mane would just chest that volley it because there was no difference in this goal he scored against Tottenham about 4 years ago. You know where he hit against Man City where he hit the ball. Tottenham, I think it's Tottenham. Yeah, where he hit the ball on the ground and scored. Yeah. So I just feel like I think our strikers are lacking confidence. So I think overall our movement was much better in terms of the forwards. But I just think at times we're not, you know, the lack of confidence is there. You can see in the decisiveness. Even from Trent, when Trent passed the Salah instead of shooting, like that's a confident Trent. He just shoots because there's no need for him to pass, just shoots. So I think overall, in terms of attacking play, there's still that indecisiveness and which comes from lack of confidence. But I think overall, our whole general play in terms of from a defensive point, midfield was much more better, you know, today. Obviously, there were times when Leipzig got through because of the pace and stuff, and they hit the crossbar. But I think overall, what it was, obviously, with that being K-Backs and Phillips, being thrown back together, you know, with some new partnership still. I think overall we can be happy with the performance overall. Obviously, there's still things we need to work on, but it's very positive. And hopefully this gives us now that energy booster to now kick on and, you know, beat Wolves and Arsenal the next 2 games.
Yeah, I think you summed it up perfectly. And I think this game is this match was a perfect kind of view into maybe what some of the real issues that we're having right now with these injuries and just everything adding up, because this definitely was the best team performance we've had in a long time, but still it wasn't perfect. Still a lot of things to work on. And the fact that the only thing that you could say that went wrong today was exactly what you said. Our final touch, whether it was shooting or just our decision-making with passing when we should have shot, shooting when we should have passed, and that sort of a thing. It just seems like consistently we still struggle making the right decision and just like having the right touch. Like Mane, for example, all season, it seems like his last touch leading up to the shot has always been off. You know, Salah has not been getting the ball in the dangerous positions to get these shots off from the positions that he likes to be at. Fabinho's finishing has been pretty poor. Now Jota, a lot of opportunities to score today and couldn't find the back of the net. So I am encouraged. It was much better to see us. And I think we even talked about in the pregame show, like this matchup, because we had a 2-0 lead going into this, almost lined up perfectly for us, making Leipzig come out and play against us, really freed up a lot of space for us. And I think that's why also with Fabinho in there, that we saw one of Thiago's best games, and Gini Wijnaldum had a great game because they had so much freedom. And I thought Thiago was phenomenal today. And it was just kind of like a glimpse of what we could have. Aliaka here, they bring up a point. Fabinho in the midfield was needed. He changed the whole game with Thiago being able to play his role going forward. It's a perfect balance that we needed for a long time in the midfield, and I completely agree. What did you think of specifically Thiago and Wijnaldum's performance and them going forward today?
Well, I thought you know, we controlled the midfield. You know, I thought like we had the better chances, and I thought like, you know, I thought Fabinho being in there really allowed Thiago and Gini to like play further forward and play with more expression, and not feel the need to do as much defensive work. You know, because we didn't have to see Thiago or Gini dropping deep to pick up the ball from the centre backs or, you know, do much defending. I thought as well, like, you know, there were plenty of times where I thought there was a point where Thiago was helping Trent as well, which is much more like tracking back and helping Trent. And I think overall, like I thought the whole mid three, Ginny, Thiago, and Fabinho played really well tonight. And it was a good compliment to in terms of like what they offered. So I think I was really happy with us how we controlled the midfield, and I thought it was I thought this is a much better performance in terms of what we've seen from midfield. Even from Thiago, I thought tonight he played some really good balls tonight, and really looked good. And the same thing with Ginny. I thought Ginny really controlled the ball really well and really linked up play. So, it's a good performance all around. So, in terms of midfield, I can't really complain. Midfield did this job in terms of offering the defense protection it needed as well. So, obviously Leipzig are a good team at the top of the Bundesliga, so they were going to have their chances, hence why they hit the crossbar. But I think overall we were the better team, and it helped, midfield protecting their back four, and the defense did its job. So, I can't complain midfield today.
6. Putting Fabinho in the 6 today really is going to just transform our midfield, because I'm literally salivating at the thought of guys like Naby Keita playing ahead of Fabinho, Curtis Jones playing ahead of Fabinho, knowing that now they don't have to have such a thought in their head about being perfect defensively and kind of all the passing lanes. Now they can take more risks going forward, especially those two guys, Curtis Jones and Naby, going forward. We know how good they are at those skills. So having them play in that 10 role, knowing that they have the coverage of Fabinho, I just think going forward now in the Premier League as well, if we can keep Fabinho healthy, keep him in that 6, we're going to start playing through the middle more, and that's just going to free up things for Trent, going to free up things for Salah, Mane, Robertson on the wings, and then also Jota, he's going to be playing through the middle as well. So I just think that having Fabinho healthy, taking this risk, and having it pay off is going to be absolutely massive for us going forward. I think that this could be the solution. This could be the spark that we were looking for, was just Fabinho coming back from injury and slotting him right into the 6. So J-Doc has a pretty good question here. When all players are fit, what's your preferred midfield 3?
Depends on the game, really. Depends on the game. Like, if we're playing a big team, so we were playing Bayern, then my midfield would be Fabinho, Hendo, and Thiago. I think that complements its team and everything, because you need Henderson's leadership in there. And, the fact that I think Hender's best wins box to box, as we saw last season. And then you need Fabinho there for breaking up play, and then you need Thiago there for just playmaking. So I think if I was playing a big team, I'd play that. If I was playing a potential team that's a low block, then my midfield would be Fabinho, Thiago, Keita. We're playing a low block. Obviously, I was really disappointed actually tonight that Keita came off, Thiago came off. I wanted to see him a bit of Naby together. But even with Naby, I thought when Naby came on, he looked sharp. He looked good in terms of like his passing, his movement. So I think if we can keep Naby fit, he can play a big role for us going forward the rest of the season, because he's a great option to come off the bench or a great option to play in a different match. So yeah, I think what I would say as well, like I tweeted again that Henderson's back at the beginning of April. Champions League quarterfinals, I think, around the 6th of April. Then the second leg is the 18th of April. Henderson's going to be back for that. So dare to dream.
Like Gaurav says, Hendo back in April. League's done. Champions League final in Istanbul. Fate anyone? Yeah, I think I dare to dream. Dare to dream, like you say. Chris Welsh agrees with you. Fabinho, Henderson, Thiago, various big teams. Honestly, I think that's it for me too. I would say it's probably my preferred 3 would be Fabinho, Hendo, and Thiago. And then again, when we play a low block, I think you would take out one of 2 of either Fabinho or Henderson, one of those 2, and then put in Naby. It's just interesting because Curtis Jones really has not done much wrong. But I think he might be the guy that would be kind of like your super sub, be the guy off the bench, because he could come in when the game's tied. He could come in when we're behind. Gini Wijnaldum would be a good substitution for when we need to kill a game off, something like that. So it'd be really interesting to see how that plays out. Zama thought, also agreed with you. Naby was definitely looking sharp. I think he could carve, especially while we try to ease him back in from coming back from this injury. I'm telling you, I think especially with the cameo that we saw from him today, I think he could really excel the rest of the season, being our playmaker and being our spark off the bench where we need it, because he has a different pace about him. He always is willing to take a risk. And then also that left-footed through ball, like you said, was absolutely gorgeous. What a beautiful pass that was. But again, he just offers you something different, a little bit of a change of pace off the bench. So I think especially while we have Wijnaldum and he's up in the air next year, use Wijnaldum to start games and then bring on Naby as a change of pace when we need to go get a goal. That's what I'd really love to see going forward.
Yeah, I agree. I think as well. I think like in the later stages when you're playing, a big team, I think having someone like Kate on the bench, like to come off the bench the second half and change the game for you when you need a goal, need creativity, is it's a great option to have. So I think like it's great we can keep him fit, because he will be huge for us in those later stages. When you have another top player off the bench that can come on and make an impact. So it's good to have these options again, like seeing these players come back and get fitness. So obviously we can then get Henderson back. Even Tsimikas, he looked a bit sharp when he came on. Like he looked like he got stepping and springing his step. Obviously, so if we can keep him as well fit, gives us option to rotate. Because obviously, if we're going to have the quarterfinals or semi-finals down the line as well, then you want to be able to, rest Robber in a game, in the league game, and then play Tsimikas. So, it's good to have these options.
Completely agree. Yeah, I think his cameo was great as well. Divock Origi, I thought looked good too when he came in, which is shocking. But he played with some energy. Obviously had that beautiful ball to Mane. One person that we haven't touched on yet with his performance, I thought he was absolutely outstanding, was Alisson. Made a couple really big saves, especially in the first half. That one kind of made that sprawling save in the near post effort. How big was it to get a good performance out of him as well, just for his confidence and everything that he's gone through recently?
Yeah, I think it was crucial because I think he made a really good save in the first half, and he really looked really good. Obviously, we all know how big Alisson is for us. If we had Alisson at that Atletico Madrid game last year, we're through in the semi-final. And he's that big, for us when it comes to winning trophies. So obviously, with everything Alisson's gone through, it's very easy for someone like him to his mind not to be there, but he's a top professional. He didn't put foot wrong in the Fulham game or in the Chelsea game. So those defeats went down to him. I think I think he was really good in terms of his saves today, and his feet with the ball was really good as well today. He didn't make any crazy passes that sometimes you think, Alisson might do. He didn't do any of those kind of things. So I thought for what he had to do, you do have to do much, but what he had to do, he did it well. So I think that's good to have Alisson, get some kind of confidence now. We can then, we've also got a clean sheet. That's going to be a wonders for the defense and the goalkeeper. We haven't had a clean sheet in a while. So, so it's good if we can get another clean sheet against Wolves on the weekend, then it gives us that confidence. It gives the defense that and goalkeeper that much confidence. So yeah, I thought Alisson played really well today. So it was good to see him with that performance and be able to, take his mind off with football and put in a top performance. So he's going to be crucial as well. As you go deep into the tournament, because the importance of having that world-class keeper behind in the stick.
Yeah. So, I think for me with Alisson's performance, there's two things. Number one, like we said, just because of some of the performances and stuff that he's gone through, I think it was awesome for him, and it's going to be massive for him, some of the saves that he made. But then when you think about the game, this match specifically, and having a good performance with this new back line, another center back partnership with Kabak and Phillips, and having that type of performance, being able to get a clean sheet against a team that hasn't lost in the Bundesliga since we beat them, in the first leg. So they were in great form. They were a very dangerous team. They weren't allowing many goals. They were scoring goals. And for us to get a clean sheet, technically on the road in Budapest, I think that was absolutely massive for him, massive for the back four's confidence playing as a new unit. And I think, yeah, like we said earlier, I think now we have a little bit of confidence. Now, if we can go out, beat Wolves, and we need now to just continue this performance, put 2 or 3 of these performances together in a row, and all of a sudden you'll see that mentality come back of we can beat anybody. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that.
100%. It's a string of wins that gets you confidence. So hopefully, we can maintain this kind of performance because normally if we had played like tonight how we did, even though I think we could still play way better. If we had played this way tonight as we did against Chelsea or Fulham, it was a different game. They probably win the game. So, because even tonight, I think the one big difference I saw tonight was we created chances. We didn't create that much against Fulham. Really didn't create anything against Chelsea. And that was a massive thing that we create chances tonight. It wasn't like in the first leg against Leipzig where it was errors from Leipzig that we got our goals from. Today was from us creating good chances. Having good, there was good passes to play. Like, the Salah first goal, we cut Leipzig open with really nice 1-2 touches. Between Trent, Thiago, Jota, and Salah. Even for the second goal from Mane, we chopped them open. So that was the positive thing. Like, we are creating chances, and I think it comes back against the midfield of having Fabinho, which releases Thiago and Gini to play further forward. I think that's the massive thing we missed. So that's a positive. Like, if we can then take that in to the Wolves and do the same again, create chances, then we can go to Wolves, and get and beat them. So it's just the thing of like, I'm just hoping that we can continue this because I'd rather us continue to create chances and miss than create nothing and be struggling to score. So so for me, tonight was a positive amount of chances created because we had at least 3 or 4 good chances and they were big chances, and they came from us, created them, not from an enforced error from a Leipzig player.
A couple of things in the chat real quick. Lost ID. Hey, man, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate you. Chris Welch, kind of echoing my statement here. I don't know why this isn't working. Okay. Like I keep saying, let's hope these performances continue. None of this win one game and lose the next couple. Exactly. You got to build off this performance. And like I said, I think if we can get 2 or 3 of these in a row, we'll see our old form coming back, playing with a lot more confidence, a lot more freedom, not afraid to take risks, take chances. And I think that's when we're going to be dangerous and tough to beat again. Grav, he had a good point. Samikas looked good, quick on his feet, fresh, want to see him. Yeah, I think after this performance, I think I wouldn't be surprised if he starts against Wolves. And I kind of wanted to get your opinion on that, Wahomie. I know we have Wolves and Arsenal coming up, but we're going to have some time now. We're going to be really just kind of focused on the Premier League going forward. Would you kind of be rotating a lot more in the Prem, giving guys like Samikas, maybe even Nico Williams, guys like that, giving these guys some more minutes and doing a lot more rotation in the Prem now?
Yeah, I hope we could just translate this into Premiership because, I think my one worry was the fact that, that the players were more up for the Champions League because they felt, it was a welcome distraction from the Premiership. And also, the fact that maybe they felt that, getting top 4 was a much more harder task. But with the Champions League, everyone wants to play in the Champions League. All those players, dream about, especially the foreign players, dream about playing the Champions League football. So they're more up for it. They want to, win that tournament, go far in it. I'm not saying they don't want to win the Premiership, but it's, it's something that European players dream about, most of those players. So I'm just hoping now, obviously we've seen a lack of confidence in quite a few of the games, in the Fulham game, the Chelsea, the Everton game, where the players just didn't seem to be themselves. I'm just hoping now that this is like a wake-up call and that we can then take this performance into the Wolves game. And obviously, for me, except for Fabinho, if he wants to rotate in terms of like, I don't know, playing other players, like giving Gini rest for Jones or Keita for the weekend, that's fine. If he wants to rotate it for that on the weekend, but Fabinho has to be in there. I think that was a blueprint going forward. That you need someone in there that breaks up play, that creates space, that does this intelligent fouls, intercepts, because it allows the other players to then have more license to go forward. So for me, that's what we need going forward. And I think Fabinho back in midfield is going to play a crucial point, a turning point. Even when Henderson's come back, that's going to be huge. But I think going forward, that's what we need to be doing. And then they will start to see the results coming. But if we go back to how we were before, if we put Fabinho back at centre back this weekend, then we'll go back to teams being able to walk from midfield because we're not tackling.
Completely agree. I think going forward, especially in the big matches until Henderson gets back, I think now you got to pencil in right away Fabinho in the 6, Kabak and Phillips as the center back partnership. I think that's clearly what you got to do going forward. It was too good. It was just it was too perfect this time around for them not to do that. Somebody did bring up a good point here about the center back partnership. I want to see if I can find this, and it was a little bit older of a comment. But ultimately, are you concerned though with having a partnership like Kabak and Phillips with not a ton of pace back there? Are you worried that if you go against a team with a fast number 9 and maybe a fast front 3, and then being able?
So repeat the question again.
I said, are you worried about Kabak and Phillips? Like they played well, but they're not really pacey guys. Are you worried about them potentially as a partnership against if we play a striker that's pretty quick up top?
Yeah, I am, to be honest. As much as I think, like I said, I don't want to start bashing them and stuff. And I think obviously, I love the fact that Phillips plays with his heart on his sleeve, and he's no nonsense. He's willing to put his. He reminds me of some of the Martin Skirter used to do. Like, Skirter will play with a bandaged head, blood dripping on it, and because he's willing to put his heart on his sleeves. And I thought K-Back played much better today. But obviously, I think there were still times where Leipzig got in behind us with balls down the flanks or balls in behind. And I think obviously we saw there were times where it was like where K-Back or Phillips were caught out of position. Even in the first half, there were a few times where Leipzig got behind us because of poor positioning from both Phillips and K-Back. But maybe I thought I was thinking maybe that's just because they haven't played much together. But then I think obviously, it's not obviously the best playing the high line. I think if you're playing like, for example, like a Bayern that has Gnabry, Sane behind, and you're playing that high line, I would be a bit cautious about Phillips and K-Back as a partnership against them because I feel that they would get exposed to get a better forward line. Or if you're playing like Mbappe and Neymar, I think they get exposed. And also, I think obviously, like I said, I don't think no disrespect to Leipzig, but their strikers, I think most of the strikers they've got like 7 or 8 players on 4 goals. So their goals are spread out. So it's not as if they're like they've got strikers who are banging in. I know Liverpool strikers haven't done amazing this year, scored many goals, but it's not with Leipzig that they've got strikers who've doing work. So obviously, I think also I was thinking because the commentator was saying that I think it was Manneman said they'd love us to get a Dortmund, and I was thinking, okay, yes, Dortmund are poor defensively, but Haaland against our defense
should have a field day.
That would be a concern for me because I think he would. I think we'd outscore Dortmund because I think their defense is shocking. I don't rate their keeper either. But Haaland would get a couple of goals in that game. It'd be a high scoring game because I think he would expose Kabak and Phillips. I think that's probably where you'd think you might see Klopp putting Fabinho back at centre back because even though I wouldn't like it, but you might see him thinking, okay, well, I'm playing a high level. I've got to put him back in there because I think they would expose the high line. So, but like I said, tonight I want to give them full credit, because like I said, you can only do well against what's put in front of you. And tonight, K-Back and Phillips were very good tonight in terms of what's put in front of them. So, I'm not going to dent them for that. Because, so hopefully that they can build on this. It's another game they've got in terms of their partnership. Hopefully we see that again on the weekend. Allow them to build. Cause I think the key thing now is allow them to build a partnership. Allow them to get some confidence together, because there's no point in then dropping one of them this weekend, because then it doesn't allow centre backs. They need that communication, that time to work together, build a partnership, to understand each other's movements, to understand that how to hold the line. And I think that's why, again, we got exposed on the break, because the communication is not there to say, okay, like, when we're pushing up, we're pushing up together. Because sometimes you see, like, I think that's the one where Phillips pushed forward, but K-back was still back. So that's a lack of understanding and communication there that they need to work on. But that's only going to happen if you allow them to play a series of games together.
Yeah, and I think Wolves is going to be a really good test for those guys too. I mean, the team as a whole, to see how real this performance was, because they like to play 5 in the back, number one. So it's going to be a little bit tougher to break them down. So with Fabinho playing a center mid role, can we break them down? But then number 2, when you think about it, they have Neto up top as well as Traore up top. It's going to be really interesting to see how our center back partnership of Phillips and Quebec can hold their own against that. So I hope they almost go with the same exact 11. Maybe bring on Keita for Gini Wijnaldum to beat the low block. The low block, excuse me. But I think next week, this weekend, this Wolves game is going to be a very good test for that back line to see if they can handle that pace, because they're going to see plenty of it with Neto and Traore next week. So we'll have to keep an eye out on that. But with that last conversation, 1892 Reds podcast, thanks, man. We like you. Appreciate you. And yes, we're 1 subscriber away from 250. So if you haven't yet, hit that. Chris Welch, same team versus Wolves. Yeah, I think same team, except you bring on Naby to help beat the low block, or maybe Curtis Jones, one of those two. I'd give Gini Wijnaldum a rest. I think he did play great, but he's been playing a lot of minutes. Maybe give him a little bit of rest before the Arsenal game. Would you trot out the same 11 for Wolves?
No, I think I'd put the same defense out, same goalkeeper out. But midfield, I'd keep Fabinho in midfield. I'd keep Thiago in there, because I think he played well when I think he played well. I don't want to see a Fabinho Thiago continued partnership. But I would I'd give Naby a run out, to be honest, because I think I want to get Naby as fit as possible, because I think get him a run of games. I think he's going to be a huge player for us in terms of going towards winning the Champions League.
Yeah, I agree. I think slide Naby in there. This is why we have Nabys, for those type of games. It's going to be a good test. But kind of thinking ahead in the Champions League, you talked a little bit about Dortmund and that matchup. Obviously, I know we still have 4 other teams to confirm who are going to make it into the round of 8. But out of the teams available, why don't do you have maybe 1 or 2 teams that you'd like to face in the next round? And then is there anybody that you don't want to see in the next round?
I'd love to face Porto. I mean, no disrespect to Porto. I watched their game yesterday against Juventus, and I thought they played outstanding. I think they had 10 men for like most of the game. And obviously they played against a good Juventus team. Obviously, I know Ronaldo is a bit past it. It's not obviously playing to the level he was, as we know he was like a couple of years back. But they still have some good players, Juve. And I thought like Porto did really well. But I think one of their main players is going to be out for that game because he got a straight red. So and obviously they got Pepe. He's still an animal. But I'd love to play Porto, because I think like we've got good history against Porto. We know how to play Porto, and we beat them badly before the past. So they'll be my favourite team to get. The team I'd want to avoid, obviously, right now, it'd probably be. I don't know. I'd rather not face Bayern right now, to be honest. That's someone I want to face if you have to come to worst in the semi-final. Same with City. I'd rather face City in the semi-final or the final rather than have to face them next. Even with PSG, I'd rather avoid PSG as well. You'd want to avoid them three. But I think personally, I think we're going to get one of them. To be honest, I just know the draw how it is going to be.
Yeah,
we're going to want City will probably get Porto.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, and we'll get probably. I can see us getting PSG or Bayern. I can see one of those two.
Yeah, so I think for me, I mean, so based off looking at it, obviously now we have Liverpool, Dortmund confirmed, as well as Porto confirmed and PSG confirmed. Bayern and Man City all have already confirmed just about, and then if you're going off the first leg, it'd be Chelsea and Real Madrid. Personally, I'd love to see Porto or Madrid. I think I would love either one of those matchups.
Madrid's a good shout.
I think that'd be good.
I forgot about them. Real Madrid's a good shout. They are a slow team, old man team, and they don't have any goals in their team really, and the defense isn't that great anymore either. So I'd love to play them. I agree with Chris Wells. Porto is our omen, but I think we're just gonna get. I can see the draw screwing us. To be honest, I hope I'm wrong. But I can just see it. I can just see us getting one of the harder draws, and Man City always get in the easy draw.
True. If we get Porto next round, oh my God, Liverpool fans everywhere would be celebrating just because of that reason. We always go to the finals since we play them, but this is why I want to play Real Madrid. I want to see some solid revenge. I think he would just be all over the place in those two legs, and maybe score like 5 goals, something like that. Just get absolutely crazy with it. So we'll see it. We'll see on that. But otherwise, I think it's still no guarantee though that Madrid's going to go through. They didn't look very good against Atalanta. Against
I think they did they get what was their score? So I think they got
it's 1-0 on aggregate right now.
Yeah, I think at home they'll finish the job. I don't think Atalanta was, I think Atalanta. I'd love them to do a giant killing as well for them to kick out Madrid. Just to see Madrid in the mud, because I don't like Madrid at all. So, but I think you expect Madrid to get the job done. I don't know. It's not in the Bernabeu either. It's a mutual ground.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting.
Yeah, Alfred, yes. Oh, yes, a neutral ground. So hopefully, Atlanta could do a giant killing there. Because all they need is one goal, and it puts it tied in away goals. Hopefully, because I'm not going to write out Atalanta actually, because they are good teams. So hopefully they can do a giant killing. Okay.
Yes, interesting. I think there's a few potential, and I think Dortmund would be that like middle of the road team for me. Like it wouldn't be ideal, but I wouldn't hate it. We could have definitely gotten a worse draw. I think as long as we can avoid, for me, if we can just avoid PSG, Man City, or Bayern, I'll be okay with the draw. But Porto or Real Madrid, and I'm looking my chops for that. Chelsea, I'd be maybe a little bit worried about just because of their their recent form and them beating us recently. But or even Atletico Madrid with their low block, that'd be kind of an annoying game.
I think Chelsea can kick them out.
Scores up top though. What's that?
I think Chelsea kick out Atletico. I don't see Atletico go free. They had their chance in the first leg. I know it wasn't obviously Metropolitan, but they had their chance there, and they can't now. They have to come and play because Chelsea got an away goal. They can't do the normal 10 men behind the ball rubbish anti-football. So Chelsea will score there again because they're just playing the counter. So I expect Chelsea to beat them. I think it's just gonna be. We need some luck. We need some luck to shine on us because obviously luck screwed us over most of the season. So we need some luck to say, look, I'm giving you Porto, and then we say we're in the semi-final. Because no disrespect to Porto, but we beat them and we're in the semi-final, and then you're two big games away from a final again. So as I'm saying, I say it again, dare to dream, baby, dare to dream.
So 1892 Reds podcast. they think if we play Chelsea and we get Fabinho in the midfield, he thinks that we'd be fine. I think we kind of talked about that a little bit. I mean, I think Mason Mount would not have a performance like he did against us last time we played them. Do you think that'd be a big difference maker having Fabinho in the midfield against a team like Chelsea?
100%. I said in that game that it was a mistake playing Fabinho at centre back. Fabinho should have been midfield. Because I didn't see why we were playing Fabinho there. So for me, Fabinho in there is a massive difference because you've seen what he's done tonight. We know what Fabinho does. We remember Fabinho's magical performance against Barcelona where he silenced Messi in the second half of the second leg. So Fabinho in there made a massive difference because it was too easy for Chelsea against us. We were awful, and they just walked through our midfield because no one was tackling. There was no intensity. There was no pressing. There was no one breaking up play. So I think 100% it's a different game if Fabinho's in midfield, especially by that time as well. We'll have Henderson back as well. So if you put Fabinho and Henderson in midfield in that game, it's a massive different game. So I agree that we'd be fine with that if we played Chelsea. I think the main concerns obviously for us. It's not to say that if we were the worst case of worst, we were drawn with Barcelona at Bayern Munich in the next round. As long as we had Fabinho and Henderson back in that starting lineup, we could still give Bayern a good game because I think as great as Bayern have been, there's still debates over the defence. The defence hasn't been that great this year, and the midfield has been great. As good as they are going forward, obviously with Lewandowski, they're very good going forward. But Dortmund. I watched the Dortmund versus Bayern game this past weekend. Dortmund were 2-0 up, and they threw away a free and then ended up losing 3-2. I think 3 or 4-2. But if Dortmund had a good defense, they beat Bayern. They beat Bayern. So it just depends on taking your chances. But obviously, I'd still prefer to avoid them. But if we can get those players back, who knows? And also, we don't know as well. Probably not. But would Van Dijk be back for the semi-final quarter leg or final? I doubt it. But who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. For me, it's like I feel like if you get to the semifinal, something like that, I don't know if you even want to risk Van Dijk with how important he is to this team. I think for me, it would really depend on where we stand in the league. If we need the Champions League win to stay in the Champions League, then I'd maybe consider risking him and bringing him back. But otherwise, I think if you get to the semifinal and if we're looking like we might be able to get a top 4 spot in the Prem, I don't think you risk it. And I think you also kind of reward the guys that got you there. That'd be my only thing because it'd be an absolute disaster if we try to bring Van Dijk back too soon and then he gets injured. Whereas if we just wait a couple months, he's going to be able to have a full preseason. Hopefully, COVID restrictions will be a lot better. Won't have to be social distant, that sort of everything, and have a normal off season for him and guys like Joe Gomez coming back. And I think that'd be the ideal scenario. But if the league's all undone and we can't get a top 4 spot, you might have to take that risk.
It depends. I think it depends because obviously it reminds me of when we played Bobby in the final, and he just wasn't fit. He looked totally off the pace. And we struggled, and then we looked better when we took Bobby off in the second half and put Origi on, who was, So there's that danger. The fact that obviously if you bring a player back who's not played for such a long time, it's going to take a while to get rhythm, sharpness, and it might unsettle the team. But obviously, but then at the same time, I'm thinking, one thing I'm thinking about today is like, I miss those long ranging passes. We have none of the K-back or Phillips can do those long raking passes that get people in the flanks, those diagonal passes. I miss those switcher plays. I miss those. And the only ones that were really able to do it properly were Van Dijk and Gomez, Matip to a certain extent at times. But I miss those kind of long raking passes because they were, I just remember the Van Dijk pass to Mane against Bayern and he takes it down. I miss those kind of passes. We miss those because they made us a different animal. And also, but yeah, I get your point. Like it's one of those difficult things to know. maybe just to have Van Dijk on the bench would be huge.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have to play, but just having him on the bench would be huge because his extra leadership there, just on the bench to G up the boys would be huge. So, but I doubt he'll be back for the semi-final, maybe the final, but I doubt semi-final.
Yeah, like 1892. I don't. If you got to the final, for example, I think again it's dependent on where we stand in the league. If we are in 5th or 6th and we're looking at Europa, if we don't win, you might have to take that gamble with Van Dijk because obviously Van Dijk steps in, even if he's at 80-90%, he's probably better than one of Kabak or Phillips in the back there. And just like the emotional lift that would probably provide the rest of the team too, having Van Dijk back there, I think that'd just be an extra little energy boost. But I think if you have a top 4 spot secured, just don't risk it. Don't risk it. That's the most important thing right now. Is obviously another European title would be huge and massive, and that'd be great for our wallets as well. But I don't want to sacrifice, Van Dijk's long-term career with Liverpool, for that when we don't know what Van Dijk we're gonna be getting that soon. Is it prime Van Dijk or is it 75%? I don't know. So I think there's too many questions. But the key thing to keep in mind is since he's been rehabbing, like they could have taken him off the Champions League spot and given it to somebody else, but they chose to keep him on the roster. So that's definitely something to think about. Like
I think it depends. Like if he comes back and he gets that 2 Premiership games, before the Champions final, then you could think you play him in the final because he's had 2 games. Then you play him in the final because I guess especially as well like our run in. I think in our final few games we don't have anyone that's difficult. The final 2 games really. So if he then comes back and plays those 2 games, then you put him in the final because like you said, like no disrespect to Kabak and Phillips. But Van Dijk, 50% Van Dijk is better than both of them. So you put in the final. But it'd be great to like I say, even just have him on the bench. Like if you're wanting that comfortability, bring him off the bench. So just having him around the team would be amazing. Because it would give the whole team a massive lift.
Great.
So we'll have to see what happens with that. But I think the main first point for us now. Is to see who we get in that quarter-final draw. What have we got City? Like, what do you think about that? If we got City?
I think if we got City, I mean, what do we have to lose, right? They battered us last time we played them. Obviously they're going to be going balls to the wall. I mean, the only thing that's a bummer is that they pretty much already have the Prim locked up. So like, it's not like they, and we know how badly they need the Champions League. But honestly, I think our guys would be up for it. Like again, knowing that we'd have Henderson back, we'd have Fabinho and Henderson in the midfield with a guy like Thiago. I think our team would be licking their chops for that kind of a matchup. And Chris, good point, man. Good fucking point.
I know. I saw that tweet. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. I was going to say, but remember, in 17-18 when we played City, they wrapped the league by then.
Right.
And then we went there, and I remember they battered us. They beat us, wasn't it 4-1 at the Etihad Stadium that season? And then we drew with them in the league. No, we beat them in the league 4-3. So everyone was like, "Oh yeah, City are going to beat us home and away in the Champions League." And we went there, we battered them at Anfield, and then got a 2-1 Wixie away at the Etihad. So, as you've seen last night with Porto Juventus, just because you're the favourite team or the team in form does not mean you're going to go free.
Oh, no, exactly. No, I mean, it'd be interesting. Like, I don't know. I think our guys would get a spark knowing that Henderson would be back for one of the legs too, more than likely. I think it'd be interesting. I think our team would get jacked up. They know that they still have a point to prove. And if they were if they saw City in the round of 8 and then knocked them out, how can you not take Liverpool to win? How can you not take Liverpool to win at that point?
Well, any team that kicks at City next, I'll be happy because I'm sick and tired of this quadruple rubbish, City the best team ever nonsense that we're hearing again. So as much as I hate United, I was happy that they ended City's unbeaten run and just broke that down this past weekend because I was sick and tired of gassing up City. So So I'm hopefully, so if we were to get City and kick him out, I'd be over the moon just to shove it in all the City fans' faces again that, that with all our problems we've had, we're still better than when it comes to the Champions League. We're still better than them. So I just, it would just make my day,
Me too.
So man of the match.
Yeah, let's get the man of the match. Who do you have? I think I know what your answer is going to be, but who do you got man of the match?
So my man of the match is Fabinho for me, because I think, like, look, while also the mentions out there, I think like Phillips played really well, Thiago played well, Alisson played well, but I think Fabinho was the one who's a difference maker for me, because like his breaking up play, his interceptions, his tactical fouls where he made good fouls when Leipzig won the break against us. The fact that he just brings that kind of aura in the middle of the park, that presence, and it allows Thiago and Gini to play more freedom, to know that, I've got Fabinho behind me. Yeah, and plus, obviously as well, don't get me wrong, Fabinho was good today, but we've obviously seen him play way, way better than he's done tonight in the midfield. This wasn't Fabinho. It wasn't anywhere near Fabinho when he was like for the Barcelona game in midfield. But it was good to see him back in there. So for me, I'd go Fabinho.
I would say it's Fabinho as well, but just for the sake of being different, I'm going to give Nat Phillips. This kid just continues to come in, exceed all of his expectations on him. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what Liverpool does with him, because I think he's proven himself, and that we could probably get a pretty fee for him. Not a super pretty fee, but we could probably get a decent fee for him next year if we want to let him go, or potentially sell him and upgrade in that position. But he deserves all the praise that he's going to get today. He has been one of the few bright spots for our season so far, and he deserves to get some recognition. So I'm going to say Nat Phillips, but overall, probably Fabinho was the man of the match. But feels good to be back for a victory. Hopefully the team can continue this on Monday against Wolves. Episode pretty much wraps up this episode of Yanks of the Cop. We appreciate you guys in the chat. Oh, go ahead.
One last thing. There's a tweet I just saw that Squawk had just posted that stats was the game tonight. Most tackles made tonight, Thiago. Most duels won, Thiago. Most recoveries won, Fabinho. Most interceptions won, Fabinho. Difference makers to this team midfield.
There we go. It's crazy what happens. You bring Fabinho back in there. We see the best of Thiago Alcantara. So hopefully more of that to come. It's been a great episode. We appreciate you guys in the chat. As always, you guys were on fire. We're going to be back Friday night for our Friday's Final Word. Open agenda. Bring your questions. Anything you want to talk about is on the table. If you haven't yet and you're still here, hit the like and subscribe button. We really appreciate you guys. And otherwise, we'll see you guys back on Friday. So up the Reds. Enjoy the rest of your week, everybody.
Up the Reds.
Dare to dream. Dare to dream.